Hello all, my name is Erta the Wanderer, and I've come out of the jungle today to talk with one of our most esteemed generals, the Great Lizard Wizard. How are we doing today, Wizard?
Right.
We also have an unfortunate guest today. One of the vile spawns of chaos has managed to sneak through, and we are currently at a standoff. Hello, Shepard of Slaanesh.
Hello. It's a pleasure.
Wow, that casual greeting just became 100 times worse. Thank you for that.
Of course, of course. Tell me, Erta, uh, how are the spawning pools? I hear they're lovely to take a dip in nowadays.
Unfortunately, I'm a Cruxigore. I haven't seen the spawning pool in almost 3 millennia.
Eh, well, just so you know, if anything comes out, it's not mine.
All right, we've come together today to talk about the newest player on the not gods realm, because apparently Kragnos isn't a god, but the great Kragnos has come and decided to start shake things up, and it affects all of us. So, what are we thinking overall about the Kragnos book?
I like it.
I think it's great.
Hmm. Yep.
Like just in general, yeah, I really like it. Um Most of the war scrolls, I think, are overall an improvement. Um I don't know that it necessarily made them more competitive, but they're definitely all more interesting.
Hmm.
Um the new ones I really like. I don't know, it's a good book. I'm happy with it.
I think it's solid. The only thing I was kind of disappointed in is the narrative battles. You have to
Mm,
have the certain armies to play those missions.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that is essentially what narrative is. You're playing a
True.
specific story, and so
Yeah.
True, true.
they just
But
got more finicky on how you allow it. But considering that narrative was always do whatever the heck you want, I don't think that those players will care.
oh yeah, definitely not. But there's like a mission in here somewhere that's like you have to have two giants and then Kragnos and then uh, a whole bunch of orcs. You know.
Well,
Yeah.
you kind of have to have some reason to buy them.
True. True.
I mean, I don't know. My buddy, one of my best friends, just started Sons of Behemoth, knowing full well that they're bad, and he is loving them.
That's fair. They're a tub thumper army. If as long as you go in knowing what you're getting into, they can do okay.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
Vince Ventrella, I think, he's done decent at the events he's shown up to with them as well.
Hmm.
Which is not saying that they're a good army. It's just saying
Well,
good
yeah, it's
job
one of those
playing them.
things. If you're just going to have fun and you know that you're going to get your teeth kicked in, it's okay to run bad armies.
Yeah.
You might not have fun if your goal is to win, but if your goal is to just go around and stomp on things, then giants can be fine. This is
Oh
true of
yeah.
almost every army.
Yep.
And then
So
you
true.
have beasts of chaos.
Or Beast. They need love. I really hope they get a book early in third edition.
I,
Like
I
them, Gloomspite, and Night Haunt need to be the first three battle tomes.
I'm
Oh,
actually hoping they
oh,
hold off not to the end, but at least past the first third, so that they don't have to do this again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
like I want GW to come forward and give a roadmap so we know when things are coming out, and then they're all, oh, so we are coming. We're kind of early on, and we won't again be the first army out there who again for an entire system is going to get our shit kicked in.
I don't
Gloomspite
know
won
about
some
that.
majors.
Yeah, on mainly on White Dwarf stuff, but yeah.
No, like even in like the middle, like when Slaanesh had just come out, Gloomspite was still doing the whole endless spell spam thing. They did fine.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like now there's problems. Now that we're at the end, there's some serious problems. But I don't know. I think they can write. And Skaven has been relatively competitive the entire edition, and they came out right beside him.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
DW can do
Skaven
it.
was really good and had a lot farther to fall.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Like
mainly
all the
like
plague
everyone's
monks.
hope at the moment. Everyone's hoping that their book is the first one. I don't. I really don't hope that Seraphon are the first book out.
No,
I don't think we will be.
Yeah, no, I don't either. But
it'll probably be Stormcast and then the new orcs.
Yeah, Orc Worklands.
yep,
Yeah.
that's what it's shaping up because they're the poster boys. Like
Yep.
Stormcast always gets a first book, and
Yep.
hopefully this time they actually get it right. Like this is
Uh,
their fourth book.
Uh, let's see.
it would be
I
third,
own
wouldn't it?
3 of them, and I didn't get the first one, so I think this might be their 5th book.
Oh wow.
Wow.
They had 2 books before the GHB came out,
Oh, that's true. Forgot about that.
and
Really?
I got that 2nd book, and then the GHB came out, and we finally had points. And then they've got a new book sometime after, and then they got a book with 2nd edition. So yeah, I think this is going to be their 5th book.
Wow. And ogres have had one.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, in all fairness to ogres, they didn't have one for the first 3.5 years of the game.
Yeah. And yeah, and at that point, Stormcast had still had 4 of them.
Yep. Yep.
I'm sensing a disparity. Oh well. Is there
They
any?
don't know what to do with destruction, man. They just don't know.
They really don't. It's like they keep trying to make destruction a massive casino, and it very rarely actually ends up working.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where the house pays you instead.
I don't know. Like Kragnos is a perfect example of it. Like when they were teasing him, they're all, "Oh, he's going to have the chance of doing 36 mortal wounds on the charge," and then you actually read the rule, and it's to monsters, and the 36 chance is like less than a 1.07 chance of happening.
Yeah, no, it was not. It's not great odds.
But yeah,
But
it's indicative of destruction. Destruction is the random army in a game that
it's
people
true.
really don't like randomness. It can
But
work.
like
It definitely can.
all that aside, though, Kragnos is still like a beast when it actually comes to combat. Like he's got
Oh
some
yeah.
problems arriving there, but like a 3-inch range, 6 attacks, 3s and 2s, win 3-4 damage.
Hmm.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm surprised that they didn't give him the giant's ability to walk over people.
Yep. I
That
also was hoping they'd give him like the 6-inch pile-in thing.
yeah, seeing we're talking about him, let me put him up on screen. But yeah, there's a lot of things that we were expecting from Kragnos that he didn't manage to get. And you're right. He's great in it when he actually gets into melee. He's
Yeah, like he'll kill whatever he's fighting.
durable for a monster. Maybe not for the
Yep.
points he costs, but he's killy for a monster. He's the problem is he's fat and he's slow.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Kragnos costs 760 points for those like who don't know. He's not cheap.
No,
No.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and like I said earlier, Lord Tibnit, Kragnos isn't a god, guys. GW keeps saying it, but he's not. He's just a really powerful dude that orcs think is a god.
Yeah. And honestly, like he should have been Beast of Chaos.
Yes, everyone agrees. That's like, especially because Beast of Chaos is in this book. He,
I know.
this is really out of. It's like, hey, we should do something for the Beast of Chaos people, and then they're all. But we also haven't done anything for destruction in like a year and a half.
And he's like halfway between a Shagarath and a Centaur anyways. Like, I don't know.
Well, he started out as a Shagarath, so like I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so weird. I get why he's a patriarch of destruction. He should have been both. He should have been a Beast of Chaos unit that could be taken in destruction armies.
Yeah, I support that.
I would support that too.
Because it makes
good.
sense. He has an origin. He is a chaos unit. He's essentially, but his character supports destruction to such a degree that he can join their armies and won't just smash them.
Yep. But yeah, no, like he's not bad.
Yeah, like I was looking at
18 wounds, 2+ save.
Yep, his mace does 6 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck killing him with spells.
Like spells just don't work. They don't.
Yeah,
Don't try it.
like so there's a very narrow list of things that can kill him, and it's pretty much mortal wounds on the attack or mortal wounds on shooting.
Or high
Like,
range anything.
Yeah, but even then, like, you gotta swing first, and
Well,
you need pretty significant rend.
well, like I said, he's fat.
Yeah, that's true.
The thing is,
I don't know.
the things that might be best at killing him are actually destruction.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like Stonehorns could do a good job of just one-on-oneing this guy.
Yeah, not a single stone horn.
Like yeah,
But, like, if
you
you
never
multi-charge.
take a single Stonehorn.
Yeah.
When you play monster trucks, you play a bunch of monster trucks.
Yep. But like, so I mean, I don't know. Just thinking about the trade, right? Like if we're talking about Stonehorn versus Crag, you're gonna charge in with at least 2 of them. One of them's gonna hurt him. He's just gonna flatten the other one. So now that means you need to devote 3 to him. If you split,
it depends on
he's
how
got
heavy
a
your
chance to flatten 2 of them.
yeah
Like, I don't know.
it depends on how heavy the charge mortals are with the Stonehorns
Yeah, exactly.
and how well your ward goes.
Because like his club doesn't get worse.
No.
Like you can expect like
Continually getting popped in the face with that thing.
minimum 12 damage out of it. Like on the low end. So I don't know. Like he'll flatten a Stonehorn with his club even if he's at 1 health.
Let's see. It's a 3 to how many attacks on that thing?
Yeah. 6 attacks.
6
3-inch
attacks, 6
range.
damage, 3s and
3s,
2.
2s, rend 3, 4 damage.
Then yes, to a Stonehorn he will do an average of 12 damage
Yeah.
because
Like,
of their
that's,
save their ward.
Yeah. So I mean,
Generally his one attack does 18 damage on average to a 3-up save.
yeah, I know, right? Like that's amazing. Like he just kills Godrak, Fist of Gork. Like, I don't know. He the fact that his club does not tier is actually what really makes me like Kragnos.
Yeah. That's always the problem with monsters. Their really important attacks tier really hard, and he seems very resilient to that.
Yeah, the main thing that goes down is his hooves. Like it starts at 6, goes all the way down to 3, which honestly is not a bad rate of degradation.
Yeah, that's better than like 90% of tables.
Especially since he does not tier until you've dealt 10 damage to him. Like he takes a long time to tier.
Mm-hmm.
So like even though yes he's slow, 10 inches is dreadfully slow. He's got a big base. There's no way currently to give him fly.
No, I was early on. I was throwing around the Bone Splitter fly spell, which would have made him great, but
he doesn't have the allegiance.
No, it's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, if you could give him allegiance abilities, you don't even need to make him fly. You just do the Bellowing Rage from Orc War Clans and like double move him, and now he's moving 20 inches, and like he gets the bonuses for +2. Like he would be fine. Like he would be a beast if that were the case. But even without it, like the amount of firepower that you have to put in to kill him is gonna be more than he costs to bring to the table.
Yep. So if you're interested in taking care of him, speed bump him. It's not hard.
Yeah.
I was
just about to say, like, you really don't have to kill him. You just have to keep him occupied.
Yep, and that's why him being slow is such a problem. A lot of people don't realize why that's such a detriment, and it's because if you're slow, you don't have to kill them.
Yeah, you can just avoid him.
You can just avoid them. He's just one model. You can just put a dinky 100-point unit in his way, and if you do that 4 times, you just spent 400 points on making this 760-point monster useless the whole game.
Yep, it's the same problem with Gotrek.
Yes. Gotrek actually has it worse, because he's even slower.
Yeah.
And isn't as killy. He's also like, isn't he like 600 points? It's been a while since.
No, he's like 500 something. I think.
Okay.
He's over
he is.
400. I can't remember exactly how many points he is, but he's over 400 because I remember they specifically made a rule that you're allowed to break the ally allotment tax
Uh-huh.
if you bring him.
Right. He was the prototype Kragnos, and yeah, they both suffer from the same problems. Whatever they're going to get into, there's a good chance they kill it,
Yep.
unless your dice are just the worst.
Yeah. I mean, that can always happen. It's a dice game.
It's
Yep.
also not very good that he can fail his charge on Snake Eyes if you're 3 inches away.
I mean,
Yes.
everybody can.
Yeah, well, I mean, talking about this big bad character that's all about charging in, and
Yep.
you roll Snake Eyes twice after the reroll. That's just
Like
sad.
that's yeah. That if it does happen, that would be sad.
No,
It's the likelihood is like 1 in 1,000, but it can happen.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of good ways to deal with screens. Like especially if you're talking about those cheap screens for destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Like destruction has some decent shooting between Savage Orc Arrow Boys, between Shootas. Like it's not enough shooting to build necessarily an army around, like it used to be, but now it just doesn't hold up. But it's definitely good at removing screens.
It's
So if people are relying on screens to deal with you, there's ways to build armies to bring Kragnos that can remove screens.
but at that point you have to build your army around him. You have to
Oh yeah, I
make
mean he's
your
a 700.
yeah. You have to make
He's
your entire 120 points that you have left a delivery uh, model for Kragnos to run in there and do his job.
Yeah, yeah. Like you have to build your army around him. This isn't just like an auto slot. But I do think there are ways to build around Kragnos that makes Kragnos a lot scarier and rather competitive. Like he's not S tier. Um, but again, like good players who build armies around making him work will be able to make him work. Or I mean, at least that's my view on it. Like
Yeah.
there's plenty of ways to zone and keep him safe from shooting. Like he's kind of a great fist to hold back in anticipation of KO. Like you
Mm.
either come over here and shoot him and you kill him and you're okay, or you fell and I come and wipe your army. Or you ignore it and give me this theater and now all of a sudden your fly high is not nearly as valuable. Like I don't know. I think there's a lot of doomsaying, like because he's got a glaring weakness. He moves 10 inches. But I
Which
think
is
you can still play around it.
yeah, which is like the second slowest movement for a monster.
Yeah, I don't actually know all the movements for monsters off the
Like
top of my
if
head.
you take a like if Seraphon wasn't a thing, he would be the second slowest monster tier. Now at the moment
Okay.
he's the third. Yeah, yeah, you're right. There's a place for him. I think he's
Like, I mean, 10 inches is not slow. Like, I think about Chaos Knights, and I routinely always get my Chaos Knights into battle, and they move the same speed.
mm,
Um, like, I don't know. I think because the army has way to get rid of roadblocks, the road blocking, and like lead belchers will just flatten screens. So, like, just a little 100-point screen, I don't think will necessarily do enough to provide blocking. Um, and it's going to depend on the table, like it's going to depend on terrain, because there are going to be some games where 5-man liberators can just hold a choke point. But then you were kind of bad for deploying behind a choke point, right?
hmm
Like you get to choose where the model sits.
yeah,
Um,
but terrain is going to be becoming a lot more prevalent, so it's going to be a dance.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't think he's as bad as everyone says he is, but I don't think he's like the auto include that some people hope for.
Yeah, and I do think he's probably too expensive for what you get out of him.
Yeah, and honestly, Icon of Destruction, his add one to bravery, it should have just been Battle Shock immunity. Or
I
only one model from each unit can flee.
I'm going to take the hard stance I always do. I don't like Battle Shock immunity at all, but yeah, it could definitely be better than just +1, considering Destruction has the worst bravery in the game.
That's Destruction's
Definitely.
big weakness. And it's right, it's not a cure all. Immunity to Battle Shock doesn't stop you from things that target your bravery. It just stops you from losing models to Battle Shock. Lumineth Realm Lords will still screw you over and all that. But the fact that Kragnos has a 10 bravery, that's a lot harder to do for Lumineth Realm Lords to
Mm.
Kragnos. They can't just try and bravery bomb him and be like, you have to fight me, and you're not close enough to do it, so you can't do anything. Like, that's a lot harder to accomplish on Kragnos.
You know what I think would have been a better ability that would have been very destruction-y?
Hmm.
For one battle round, the number of the number of models with a cat that Kragnos kills becomes a plus to bravery for the units around him.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be good.
No, but yeah, I mean, he needed more than just add one bravery.
Add one
But I
bravery
think
is just like at minus one bravery. You barely notice it unless you can really build on it.
Yep. And honestly, I think Kragnos is a buff to Gloomspite gets. Like, I think Gloomspite can really benefit from having Kragnos.
Oh, greatly. Just imagine you can throw 60 goblins over with fanatics inside of it, and then Kragnos will follow behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just
and
imagine having to paint 80 less goblins.
Yeah, exactly. there's like he helps Gloomspite a lot. And Gloomspite got all of their white dwarf stuff was official anyways, but now it's all in a book, so you don't have to like go online and try and track down issues of white dwarf.
Mm-hmm. It's always nice when GW consolidates stuff, and that is in this one.
Yep. And they made the Moon Shrine all one thing. Like before, you had to be that specific sub allegiance to do it. Now you just have to have a specific general, and you can bring back that type of unit. So that is a lateral army buff. Like I don't know that it's gonna push them up, but it's definitely a improvement.
It clarifies things
stuff.
and makes them
Yep.
not as annoying to play. It's less of a keyword soup, and Gits was very much keyword soup.
Yep.
So, with them trying to make the game simpler while also adding a whole bunch of stuff, this was definitely needed.
Yeah, and like it wasn't like the complexity was adding depth. It was just adding obfuscation. Like it wasn't actually a benefit, in my opinion. So I'm happy to see the simplification and consolidation of rules.
Yep. Watertight. Yeah, I believe Alariel is next.
Yeah, the Ever Queen.
Ah, such a pretty model.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much everything about Alariel got better this time round. She's more durable, her healing, at least on herself, is actually substantial enough to matter.
Yep.
But she did get, 160 points more expensive?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, not sure that was a good idea, but they did make everything else better, if not rather complicated. I've been trying to help walk a new Sylvaneth player through how her claw works because it's so weird.
The Talon of Dwindling, or which one?
The Talon of Dwindling.
Yeah.
The one where you have to get all the attacks through the standard stuff and then roll another dice to get a 6.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
When it works, it's great, but it seems like an extra step that didn't need to happen on a 760 point model.
I mean, all of the tree people, like the Tree Lord, and I even think Spirit of Durthu all have the Talon of Dwindling. It's just a Sylvaneth thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alariel's just best at it because she gets 4 of them.
Yeah, exactly. But it's pretty good.
Yeah. And plus, she gets to summon a unit.
She always did. Did that get any better, or is she always could summon a unit?
Nope, it's the same.
Okay.
So she got her Soul M4 rework with the new, the previous Sylvaneth Battle Tome, and that stayed the same.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What I wish, like, she would be worth all of her points, legitimately, if instead of a Tree Lord, she could summon a Tree Lord Ancient.
Yes, because they're the ones that
summon trees.
Summon trees.
Yeah.
And Tree Lords, I don't think do Sylvaneth ever take Tree Lords, or do they just up to
No.
Durthu if they want to hit things, or up to Tree Ancients if they want to use the spells?
If they want to summon trees, like the ancients, you don't, because they're level 1 wizards, which is absurd. That should also change. They should be level 2.
Especially for how much they cost. They aren't big enough
Exactly.
monsters to cost what they do.
Yep. I mean, they get their stomp, which is basically Slaanesh's old loci. So they're not nothing, but
They're
Yeah, I don't know.
300 points?
Something like that. I don't do enough theorycraft with Sylvaneth because sadly they're
They're
unimportant.
really struggling at the moment, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, the changes to Alariel don't change that. They might have if she didn't go up in points, but she went way up in points.
Yeah, and like in all fairness, I think Sylvaneth has all the tools they need to be pretty competitive. There's just not anyone that's very competitive shaping them at the
Hmm.
moment. But like being able to block
Well,
line of sight, being able to add terrain, being able to teleport, having relatively good saves across the army, being able to summon, being able to replenish units. That's and deal mortal wounds through a variety of different ways. Like they've got a bunch of tools and they're not too poorly priced, but no one's really driving them.
it's because they're finicky and annoying to use, and no one wants to paint 6 wildwoods,
Yeah, and no one wants to paint like 120 dryads. Like, oh, good,
right?
another tree. It's like painting fire slayers. Oh, good, another
And
mostly
the
naked
problem is
dwarf.
they can make beautiful Sylvaneth. There's all these painting done
Oh
on
yeah,
online of like fall or cherry blossom themed ones, or
yeah. Well, and like shout out to one of my friends and a former mama's boy, Matt, has a beautiful Sylvaneth army.
No, yeah.
Um, that's like in red, autumn, yellow, fall colors, and it's beautiful.
Mhm.
It's so
Um,
pretty.
Yeah, they have the potential just to be the best hobby thing ever. They're just a nightmare to transport. They're a nightmare to play, and
yep.
they rely really heavily on casting, but have no bonuses to cast.
That
I mean,
I
they have one, but it's also a
Crown
spell.
of
They have to get.
Thorns is good.
Yes, it's really good if you can get it, especially because they can teleport with it. Now
Yeah.
that everyone can teleport with it,
Yep.
but you have to get it off, and it's a spell. And so it's kind of having to get the ball
Yeah.
rolling that makes things hard.
It's rough against Seraphon, but like you can deploy them outside of dispelling
And then
for
teleport in.
exactly.
Mm. It's not
Um.
impossible, it's just annoying and painful to do.
Yep.
Definitely. And they also don't like facing off against Lumineth for sure.
Mm.
Because they don't need line of sight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they tend to struggle against the really big players in the game at the moment.
Yep. But they're like solid against like all the like A and B tier. It's just like the Disciples of Zinj, Seraphon, Lumineth, KO, which like
Let's
everyone
just
is.
really hope that trees don't become garrisonable.
I actually
Uh,
hope they do.
No, no, don't, because then monsters can destroy them.
Yeah, like the giant can kick it. Oh, right, because there's the new monster
The new
abilities.
monster abilities lets you
Yeah,
destroy garrisonable terrain, and the problem
that's
is,
true.
I think that if they go that direction, that really hurts Sylvaneth more than it helps, because it makes everyone just able to knock their main ability off the table. So GW, if you're listening, don't do that. Oh God, please don't do that. Not because I'm scared of
Um,
these guys, I'm not, but because
well,
it's
the other
yeah,
issue is it would no longer block line of sight, right?
right.
Because if it's garrisonable, then it counts as the units. Like they'd have to
Hmm.
make, and you, obviously you can write a rule that it gets around that. But yeah, I don't know. I think Alariel is worth her points, but I think that's if you play Dryad spam.
Hmm.
And I think Kurnoth
Yeah,
spam
that's a
is better
list.
than Dryad spam.
I think that a mix of both is the best way to go with Alariel, because the Kragnos let her project power and the Dryads hold
Oh yeah, with
points.
the command abilities. Yep.
Yeah, I think actually Sylvaneth is the most cosmopolitan list in the game because you need all their parts to function.
Oh yeah,
You need
like you
spirits to
want
teleport.
revenants.
Yeah, you
Yep.
want revenants to teleport with pipe. You want Kurnos to be there if you need to punch something and punch it hard, and you
Yep.
want dryads to hold what you take, because
Yep.
they're great at holding stuff, and that's about it.
Yeah, but they're really good at holding stuff.
They are. Ah, man,
The other new Sylvaneth hero, the Warsong Revenant,
the
also pretty
Piper.
solid.
He's
I,
such
I
a cool model. I don't.
yeah.
I don't actually think he's solid though. I don't think he does much of anything. Is the problem. He's
I don't.
Uh,
I mean
He's
the
260 points,
Yeah.
and his main ability is he has a 4 board, which is really good, but I don't know
Yeah.
why I want him in the first place to keep him around.
So he's 275. One of
Okay,
the big
that's
things
it.
is he adds one to casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls while it's within 9 inches of any awakened wildwood.
Hmm.
So a way to get +1. You can start putting out Throne of Vines on him as well. So he's a great candidate for that. Um, he gets to add one bravery for Sylvaneth units, also not bad. Subtract one bravery from enemy units, also not bad. Um, he's got solid attacks, 3-inch range, 5 attacks, threes and threes, rend 1, 2 damage. He's got 7 wounds. He moves 8, like pretty quick. Um, and he's a wizard. Like he gets to attempt 2 spells. He can unbind 1 spell. Like he's one of the first split wizards I've seen like that, where it's 2 cast, 1 unbind. But like that's still pretty solid, right? It knows all the spells of the lore of the Deepwood. Um, like just built in. I don't know. He seems like a really good wizard to me. His
I
Unleash Swarms is okay. Like it's not bad. Um, it's just a cast on a 7, roll dice equal to the casting roll for enemy units within 9 inches of the caster. Each 5+, they take a mortal wound. You start getting him on like a Throne of Vines, and
mhm.
like turn 3, he can have a +4 to casting. Um,
I
so I don't
I
know.
just am firmly in the camp that I don't think he compares well with other 300 point wizards. I
Yeah, like he's not as good as a Slan, which
mm,
is 15 points cheaper.
I would rather he was just a caster and not much of anything else and a lot cheaper. I think that he's going the jack of all trades route, and he's a good caster, but everything else that he won't use most of the time makes him really expensive. Plus,
That's true.
plus I'm just biased against all units that have a 5 at the end of their cost.
Yeah, I don't like that
yeah.
trend.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know why GW is doing it.
But like, I don't know, imagine putting him on like a Bellwind Vortex, getting some Throne of Vines running, using him as your mechanic to cast your Spite Swarm or whatever it's called, so that you can like make your Kurnoths move and run and charge quicker. Like, I don't know, he seems like a good piece of tech. Um, like I don't think he's as universally good as the Arc Regent, the guy that came out with the box when Sylvaneth got their whole new thing. Um, but I think he's pretty good. Like, it's definitely something that is worth taking. He's no tree lord.
Mm,
Definitely.
true.
I could see this more than the Everqueen.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I
I
think
mean,
this
yeah,
will show up.
he's half the price of the well, like almost a third of the price of the Everqueen.
Right.
And the
Yeah,
lore behind him supports that. He's supposed to be an extension of her will, so you'll never see them in the same place because that would be pointless.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
he looks awesome. Everything in Sylvaneth looks awesome.
yeah. Awakened Wildwoods got a rules update. Um, Mostly they changed the Vengeful Forest Spirit,
Again?
so it's now. Yep. It's at the end of the charge phase. Sylvaneth, it doesn't affect Sylvaneth keywords, but anything else within an inch of Awakened Wildwood adds 2 to the roll if it's any wizards that are within 6 inches. On a 6+, those units take D3 mortal wounds.
Okay,
Um,
that's good. That's helpful.
yeah, so it ends up being like, generally speaking, on a 4+, you deal D3 mortal wounds to anything not Sylvaneth that's within an inch of an awakened wildwood. Like 9 times out of 10, that's how it's going to work out because you're going to supply your own wizard. Um,
Pretty much always. It's so easy to get your wizards to be supporting because of teleportation.
exactly.
Takes a bit of
Um,
foresight because otherwise they get ranged out, but yeah, you can do it.
yep. Uh, it is definitely a nerf because the old version, where when you cast spells near them, you had a chance to damage, was better because of how spell saturated the meta is.
Hmm.
Um, but I think this is a good simplification that will speed the game up. And I'm hopeful that with the new edition, it's going to be more combat heavy, and this will see a lot more impact.
Fingers crossed. We'll see how it goes.
Because
Oh,
without a wizard, it just sucks. Like,
yeah.
if there's 6 enemy units within range of an inch of it, there's a good chance you're going to deal 2 mortal wounds to one of those 6.
Yep.
That's not very impactful. But if it's on a
Well,
4-up,
it's a general rule of thumb. If
yep,
it's on a 4-up, it's useful. If it's on a 5-up, it's situationally okay. And if it's on a 6-up, you forget it exists.
yep. And the new battalion doesn't matter because it's probably going to disappear.
Yep. And even if it did, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, getting an extra rend, always worth it. But...
Yep.
Yeah.
Next is our guest's favorite time of the evening.
It's my show now, baby.
They're so pretty.
I know. They're so pretty. I definitely like one more out of the twins. I have my favorite out of the 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
The lore had them show up. They were there.
Yeah, they were there. And then like they did some stuff with mirrors and threw a big party and
I think this is one of the better
that's all we have to talk
designed
about.
flying models. It looks far sturdier than a lot of them usually are.
You don't like Teclis?
Huh? Oh, I
You
was
don't
I was
like
thinking
Teclis?
more support wise because I've been thinking a lot of that for when my Croaked model arrives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So good news on Croak. He's way sturdier than I thought he was going to be.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like 3 points, right?
Yeah, and
It's more like 6 from what I've been looking up online, but yeah.
so it's 3 points that go down, but there's multiple points along those. Like all the points of contact are really small, but there's a lot of them, and those connect into larger columns, and then those 3 larger columns connect straight to the base. I thought it was going to be like, I'm just going to break this thing. Like, it's just going to happen. It's going to suck. And then I'm going to have a giant acrylic rod in the middle of my model. But I'm not worried about that anymore.
Okay.
Like,
But yeah, these guys, they took a page out of the Water Elves book with their
yep, their cape.
with their big gold cape, and they've got it's very Slaanesh to have these decadent purple robes just dragging in the dirt behind them
Oh
Yep.
yeah, well, of
because
course.
they're
What-
because they're the part that's worth showing off.
It
Yeah.
makes me think of like the Circus Olay like ribbon dancers, like that slide down the giant like curtain ribbon things.
Yeah.
Very appropriate.
I'm sure that has a name. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I'm sure that like
I mean
type of
it falls under
gymnastics-
acrobatics.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, isn't it called like silk dancing or something like that?
I would not be surprised.
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah,
Not 100% sure.
I am gonna say, man, girls, you need a pedicure.
Oh yeah.
I do agree. The feet especially. I don't know about the talons.
Mm.
The talons are fine.
Now, that'd be a manicure.
Yeah, true.
You're Slaanesh.
Oh,
You
that
should
would-
know this.
I should know this, but apparently I don't.
I'm
right
a
now.
big dumb lizard who never does hygiene or anything. Why would I know more about you about beauty procedures?
Ah,
I
I'm more...
think theirs is just natural.
that could be true because they are technically not born.
I'm gonna say it's
they
going
were
to be a
born.
nightmare to paint these things.
Yeah.
Just look at those wings and all that
Yeah,
jewelry and the tiny
I
little
think
holes in them.
subassembly.
Yeah,
I don't
Like-
know. Just like some airbrush work and then
like I'm specifically talking
Fine
about
brush.
painting those gemstones. Like
oh yeah, I see.
just look at there's like a
I
dozen.
love doing gym effects, so at least for me, I'm all about it.
Yeah, you're restricted by area because of the wings around them. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna look spectacular when it's done, but it would take me months. This would take me months to do.
Oh yeah, it'll take me months too, for sure, but it'll be fun. Still.
Yep. But yeah, rules wise, what do they look like? I haven't checked
Really?
because I hate chaos.
Oh well, I'll
That's
just
why I have
spread
you
the word
guys.
to you, for goodness. So Diaxis is pretty simple, straightforward. Movement 12, 10 wounds, 4-up save.
They're a lot like the Eidolons. Like if you had to compare them
Yeah.
to something, Eidolons.
Yeah, definitely Eidolons. Diaxis is all about the combat, so she can either run and charge, or no, sorry, she can run and charge or retreat and charge.
Which is
And then,
always good to see.
Yeah, especially in Slaanesh. And then we've got the Joyous Battle Fury. Gains 1 attack per turn. So whatever your turn counter is, that's how many attacks she gains. So if it's 1, it's 1. It's 2, it's 2, so on and so forth. And then she gives demons immune to battle shock.
Okay.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Granted, they don't get models back then either.
Nope, because you can still do it. They just don't
Really?
have to take battle shock. Yep.
Like, doesn't immunity just mean you don't make the roll, though?
No, it just means you don't battle shock. It doesn't say that you cannot roll for it. It just says you're immune to battle shock. Like, if you fell it, you'd still take it. But it's the same as...
Yeah, it just says do not take battle shock tests for friendly Slaanesh demons.
That's what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
It says do not take them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So,
then,
definitely useful, but remember that you're not getting anybody back.
yeah. And then, in addition, you get to spend a command ability without spending points.
Which in the new edition might be massive.
Yeah, there's a lot of the new command abilities are really useful. Significantly more so than the old generic ones. And just... they're essentially a new a whole battalion in and of themselves, because like 80% of the battalions are actually they're better than the battalions because of that, because it's once a battle for the new ones.
Yeah, and this one, like, she also just has -1 to be hit, like that's
Which
pretty
is
solid.
Awesome. Like what's that ability called again?
Mesmerizing
Lepidrum?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well,
Terra?
I'm okay with mispronouncing it then, because even the people I know who play Chaos can't do it. Ha!
And I just don't know what that word means. Like, I don't, couldn't tell you what language it's from, and that's my whole job.
Here, we can ask the internet. How's it spelled?
Lepidoptera.
Lepidoptera. It's a effect in butterflies that's used for mesmerizing. It's when you see eyes on their wings.
Oh, cool.
So,
Well,
yeah. GW still kicking it out of the park with naming their abilities.
I like that.
Me too. And, like, it's pretty solid combat. Like, 3-inch range.
Anything with 3-inch
really
range,
important.
especially in the new rules, is going to be very, very useful.
Yep. 4 attacks, 2s, 3s, rend 1, 2 damage, and it gets... It's not a guaranteed add 1 attack each turn. Like, there's a condition that has to be met, but it's real easy to meet that condition.
Yeah,
so, like, you're going to be 5 attacks, 6 attacks, 7 attacks.
The ramping up ability is a lot of fun. It's the same as the Maw Crusher one, isn't it?
No.
Maw Crusher has to kill a thing, and then it gets +1 attack, +1 damage.
Oh, okay. So the Maw Crusher
Oh,
one is...
+1 attack, +1 wound.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. This one's just +1 attack.
Yep.
Okay. So, same conditions, just not quite as good.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and it can fly.
Yeah. I was assuming as much. Either that or those robes are actually weird-looking legs.
Oh,
Actually, that's a lot creepier, like imagining the robes walk for them, but also kind of cute, not gonna lie.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I don't know about
actually-
creepy. That would be really cool to see in like an animation of them just... That's how they fly, is they've got these giant robes that no matter how high up they're touching the ground, supporting them.
Yeah.
That might look really cool if you did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, solid caster, solid combat.
Oh,
Not caster.
not caster.
And,
Like-
and no built-in command ability.
No, I meant one's the caster, one's the combat.
Yeah.
So, Slaanesh is the next one. This one I'm not such a big fan of, but it's not bad either.
Yeah, not having good bonuses to casting in the meta makes it really hard to like any caster.
Hmm.
Definitely. And the fact that it's only a one cast
Yep.
and one unbind,
Yep.
so you have to run cogs with it.
Yeah.
No, yeah. As you can't, they're too fat for a Balewind. Don't tell them I said that.
I won't. It'll be a secret. Right now they're in the warp talking to Belcor.
Oh, yeah.
So, uh, and also I don't really like the staff of Slaanesh, and it's just not because of its ability. It's because on a 6, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a feel bad thing when you have a main ability that there's a good chance it does nothing.
Well,
And your
yeah,
opponent rolls it.
Uh,
yeah,
I mean, I've never had a problem with that, but I can definitely see why people do.
I just don't
It
like it.
yeah. It's
Like
effectively the same, but it does feel weird.
I don't like having to tell my opponent you need to roll a dice. Like I don't
yeah.
know.
It should always be you, but also the fact that 6 is Slaanesh's favorite number.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then
So,
it
so
fizzles.
yes, and why does it fizzle on on
Yes.
Slaanesh's
So
favorite number?
shouldn't it be the opposite, where it's just a one that goes off and where it doesn't work in sixes? Just reverse the table, guys.
Yeah,
So it not going off on a 6 is better rule wise because you have to roll under their save, right? So
yeah,
Hmm.
it's less likely to affect when you would succeed. They just made it so it doesn't auto succeed. Like
yeah.
yeah, that so I get from a rules perspective why they did it, but it feels bad when Slaanesha's number is a
I
big
have a
off.
feeling that you could just sit down and make it change the rules so it doesn't feel bad and does the exact same thing.
Maybe,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, the voice of Slaanesh isn't too bad either. Uh,
Yeah,
you
that's really
basically,
good.
yeah, you basically just get to use a command ability anywhere on the field.
Yeah, it's
And
table
it's-
wide command abilities when she uses
yeah,
it.
Which are fun.
Yep.
Like like that's the main reason. Like we were talking about Kragnos, that's the main reason they're really good.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, and
and
they're about to
the
get
other
so much better because base command abilities aren't crap anymore.
yeah, no, Kurnoth spam is going to be a thing. Um, but her spell Whisper of Doubt also can affect a hero anywhere on the table, which is nice. Like she's a table wide caster. So that does a lot to make the fact that she's a level 1 wizard better because she can stay back in cast.
Hmm.
Um,
yeah.
So you can drop
but
cogs and forget.
Mm,
no, because it's only her one spell, Whisper of Doubt.
Okay.
Um,
yeah.
and it's an okay spell.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I would be rocking that all the time. And then the
yeah,
fact that
it's
she knows all 12 spells.
yes, so
Slanesh.
that you can do any of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which Whisper of Doubt, it goes off on a 6, so that's really easy to get off, especially like if you're deploying outside of unbind range, you can pretty reliably get it off. You pick an enemy hero within 3 inches of the caster that's visible to them, roll 3d6. If it's equal to or greater than that hero's bravery, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks that target the hero until your next phase. But her ability to choose anyone anywhere on the table, that's pretty solid. Like doing that with some bliss barbs.
Huge.
Bliss Bob Seekers.
Yep. Or just bliss barbs on foot. Uh, that that's pretty easy to get value out of. They move quick. They can run and still shoot. Uh, +1 to hit, so they're on 2s
It
and 3s.
shame they
Yeah.
lost the battalion that let them shoot twice.
Double shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could always run Lurid Haze, though, and then teleport the Shard Sorcerer
Yep.
over on their side, so then you get +1 to wound, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. So
Yeah.
then you're +1 hit, +1 wound.
And then you spend a CP to give them +1 hit because of the new rules.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Or volley fire to re-roll one, so you're on 2s, re-rolling 1s, wounding on.
You can't stack command abilities.
Yeah, but you don't need to stack it because you're already getting +1. So normally they hit on +4, but you have a homunculi, now you're at +3. You use this spell, now you're although, I wonder I'm going to be interested to see how those bonuses. I don't think you can get above a 3 because you're a 4 base and the homunculi makes you a 3. So it doesn't really interact with the foot bliss barbs, but it would interact with the seekers. Um, so that might make bliss barb seekers the better option pretty much always now over foot archers.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Definitely.
We're still working from very spotty data. All right.
I like them. Like the sculpts are absolutely beautiful. Um,
They are definitely not my thing, but I can see why people enjoy them.
and they're pretty cheap, all things considered. Like 280 points for the fighter, 260 for the wizard.
Well, 260 plus whatever cogs it's going to be.
Yes.
Because I just can't see you running Slaanesh by yourself without a little help.
Yeah.
I mean,
fair.
that's true of a lot of casters nowadays.
It's especially we can just pay 140 more points and bring Faticros.
Right.
Oh no.
I love him. He's a better wizard than the Shard of Slaanesh.
Well,
Yeah,
she's
and
she's
he's
new
good.
at this. She's just been around for like less than an in-game year. So the fact that she's already as effective as she is when she's been wait, no, even less. She's been around for less than a month. So
Yeah.
if you guys want to engage in child abuse, beat her up.
Oh, it's better than Beast of Chaos where everyone kills your kids.
Mm. Yeah, but Beast of Chaos is supposed to be evil.
uh, I'm really excited. I don't play Cities of Sigmar at all, but
Oh.
I'm really excited for the Free
Let me
City of
pull
Exelius.
those up. Witch Hunters and the Free City of Exelius.
Or
Da, da,
Excelsis.
da.
Excelsis.
I really
Yeah.
miss the dad jokes meme on these guys. That for a couple of days that was glorious, where they were just doing dozens and dozens of dad jokes with these two models, and it works great.
Yeah,
and then people
the
stopped.
father-daughter team.
Bring it back.
But Excelsis is great. They're from the realm of Gur. I like that there's now a free city from the realm of Light, from the realm of Gur. Hopefully, they keep getting more. They've got 2 major abilities. They've got Gift of Prophecy, which is once per phase, so you get to use this all the freaking time.
Mm-hmm.
When you pick a friendly unit to shoot or fight, you can say that it has been prophesized. If you do so, roll a dice. On a 1, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by that unit. On a 2 to 6, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made for that unit.
That's really good.
Yep, I love it.
Yeah.
The other great thing they get is a command ability, Repost, which is just awesome. Like, way to keep up with the Renaissance theme. You can use this command ability at the start of the combat phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Excelsius unit wholly within 12 of an Excelsius hero. Any unmodified save rolls of a 6 deal a mortal wound to the unit attacking them.
That's
So good.
That's crazy. It's only
just give 'em
is
blade
it only
fist.
in melee or is it in range as well?
It's only in combat.
Good. That makes so much more sense. But this one might actually tempt me away from Hollow Heart and the Tempest Eye.
Yeah.
Those two have been the staples for me ever since I started running with cities with a couple of Dalancys into Hammerhall whenever I wanted to get my demigryphs out. Oh, poor demigryphs. But yeah, and yeah, this is actually a decent alternative.
Yeah.
It will very much depend on whether bonuses get capped at 1, which a lot of other things have been proven true that it probably is.
Yep.
Because everyone already brings a Hurricaneum,
Yes.
so that makes one of their abilities completely useless.
However, their general command traits are amazing.
Uh-huh.
So they've got Cunning Foe. You can retreat and still charge with the general. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by the general. Subtract 1 from hit rolls that attack them. That's a great command.
It's amazing, especially because my general is usually on a Griffin, because Griffins are cool.
They've got In the Right Place, which this is, in my opinion, the one to take. At the start of the first battle round, pick D3 friendly units, set them up again. any restrictions for the battle plan being used still apply. It's a
Ah.
redeploy. Redeploy D3 units, game winning.
Which is really, really useful, especially because most of the time, cities only has 3 or 4 really important units.
Yep, exactly. So like screwing it with deployment, like you deployed to counter me. Haha, now they're here. Like that's great. Um, and then they've also got Darkest Secret at the start of the combat phase. You can pick an enemy hero within 3 inches of this general. That hero can't use command abilities until the next combat phase. Any that they've used still apply.
That's going to be a lot
That,
less effective because of how many options for delivering command abilities there are going to
yep.
be around.
Now that unit leaders can deliver commands
Yeah.
to their unit.
In 2.0, that was amazing. In
Yep.
3rd edition, that's practically useless.
It's still good, but it's not what it was. But in the right place, oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Yeah, you don't have to go through them all, but are the spells any good?
So before the spells, they get Grith Feather Charm.
Wait,
Like
they
for
do?
artifacts? Yeah.
So, awesome! Oh, I was
Yep,
so sad when
subtract
that
one from hit
disappeared.
rolls, and then add one to the bear's move characteristic. They also get the Glimmer Ring, which has changed. It's a once per battle thing, so you wouldn't really like it, but it lets you affect dice roll.
Yeah, this is the new home for demigryphs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they got Rock Jaws, which I'm pretty sure is identical to the old Rock Jaws, except it's in the shooting phase instead of once per game in the shooting phase, so it's better. On a 3+, you deal D3 mortal wounds to something within 8 inches. Their spells are not bad. They've got Cower, which lets you fuck with monsters. You just got to roll 2d6 and beat their bravery, and then that unit can't make a charge move in your opponent's next turn. So that's pretty awesome.
That's...
Yep, it's going to hurt destruction. It's not going to hurt Kragnos, though, because he's got 10 bravery, so that's going to be much harder to beat. They've got Flock of Doom, which is a great callback to Warhammer Fantasy.
Mm-hmm. It was the old staple beast damage spell, wasn't it?
Yeah. It goes off on a 6. You pick an enemy unit wholly within 18. Nope, not wholly. Just within, which is good.
Oh, thank goodness.
You roll 12 dice. For each 6, they take a mortal wound. So it's pretty much on a 6-up, do 2 mortal wounds. Instead of on a 5-up, do 1 mortal wound. But you're still going to use it, right?
So they definitely went after the Total War, the Total War birds instead of the old birds. Old birds were good.
Yeah, but I mean it's still good, right? Because you can spike it.
It's not bad.
You can use it. You can use it in addition to Arcane Bolt. So Arcane Bolt, you've got a decent chance to do 1, maybe D3.
Arcane Bolt might be getting much better. Is the
that's
general
true.
idea.
Yep. And this goes off on a 6 instead of a 5. Deals on average 2. You could spike it, you could whiff it, who knows? But still, I mean, Flock of Doom's definitely worth taking, and it's not like Cities of Sigmar is running short on wizards to give spells to.
No.
But their main one's Amber Spear. This goes off.
That's also an old callback.
Old callback, which is great. Goes off on a 6. You pick a point on the battlefield within 12 of the caster, draw a line. Anything under that point, any models passed across, those units take a mortal wound. So putting this on like one of your wizard on Griffin, like it's just a pick a point, draw a line back. So like using spell portals to pick a point and then draw a line back to the caster. Like there's a lot of things you can do with Amber.
Depending on what's on the field, that could be very useful because you could proc a lot of battle shock tests.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're fighting.
Yeah. So I like Amber Spear. Like I saw a lot of people being like, "Woohoo! I can do a couple mortal wounds." But like,
well, mainly I think that the base battle wizard spells generally tend to be better. Is the problem?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But like you've got a plethora of spells.
Yeah, it's not so much that this is bad, it's the fact that all cities is not hurting in the magic department for things you want to cast.
Yep. That's true.
Like base chain lightning is generally better than that.
Oh, for sure.
Or fireball. Actually, fireball is going to be great in the new game. because of how many minimum size units are going to be around, which was its
Mm-hmm.
main downside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I don't ever see myself taking either Flock of Doom um, or Amber Spear, mainly because all their other options are so much better. Like even the base ones that we never take because the city ones usually are. Actually, that's actually pretty good. Excelsior is going to be the battle wizard city that they actually use their own spells.
Yes, instead of
Yeah.
just like the Hollow Heart. Like
Yeah.
I think Hollow
Well,
Heart's still a better wizard platform,
oh,
but
it's definitely the best wizard platform, but in Hallowheart and in Tempestai and all of the other ones, you have really good spells that you'll
their
never
lore,
bother
yeah.
with the base battle mage spells, even though they're really good.
Well, and still getting to pick those spells that like because these are situational spells. These aren't just universal. You always cast them.
Hmm.
But picking Cower and having it on a wizard because it costs you nothing to do that. You just got to have the wizard to know Cower.
Oh
Like
yeah, Cower is very useful,
if they bring
especially with Roar in the play.
yeah, like the second they show up with monsters with moderately low bravery, like that 7-ish bravery, like
Plus, I love the idea of this little wizard just screaming at a dragon and the Grang's all, "Oh no!"
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's pretty good. I like it. Like you've got a not low chance of screwing up some order monsters, like looking at you coalesce stegodons. Um,
Oh,
and
that's
you've got
right.
a
That's gonna hurt a lot.
and it messes with destruction behemoths. Like I don't know. It seems pretty decent. Like it's definitely one that you always want to take when you have the spell slot, and you're gonna have the spell slot because where it's good, it's game-winningly good.
Hmm.
And
All
they're two
right.
heroes.
The two heroes. I love these guys. I was talking earlier about the meme, and they just look so cool. We were missing the witch hunters because they were such an iconic part of cities back in the day,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
empire, and then they just went away with all the legacy, and now they're slowly bringing the stuff that everyone loves back.
Yeah, and then the one that came out was in Cursed City, and you couldn't even like take him without paying an exorbitant high price to bring a bunch of other heroes you didn't care about.
Yeah, Dorleven,
Yeah.
and he wasn't
Uh,
very good.
yeah.
I mean, he's durable, but he like has a single missile attack. That's no,
Yep.
no, go away.
Uh, but the new ones are great. I think the daughter is the
Galvantist.
better. Yeah. Crossbow I think is better. The daughter.
Hmm.
Um,
Grim
24-inch
Resolve.
range.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Grim Resolve. She's got a 5-up ward, which is awesome on heroes, especially with how easy
Hmm.
sniping happens.
Yep. Her base crossbow is 24-inch range. It's only one attack, threes and threes. It's Rin 2 damage, but she's got Sure Shot, where add one to the attack characteristic to the model's crossbow, and add one to hit rolls if this model has not made a move.
And it's 24
So
inches. She's not going to be moving.
yeah, so your two attacks, twos and threes, Rin 2 damage. Um, like Lookout Skink Priest. Uh, yeah.
Yep.
Uh, Weapon of Banishment is amazing. This also affects her crossbow. Double the damage characteristic of this model's weapon if it attacks a wizard or a demon.
And that's
So it's
why she's scary, not because of the above.
four
She can
damage.
one-shot skinks.
Yep, she
Hmm.
will one shot Skink Star Priest. She'll pick off Star Seers if she's double tapping them. I mean, she's gonna do some hurt to Slan.
Hmm.
Uh, like she's good.
The
If
only
you're a Seraphon player, kill her
yeah,
because she's only 5 wounds with a 4+ save. Kill her.
and a 5 ward. Don't
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah, but still, like we
She
live and breathe.
it's going to take a bit unless you focus on her. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
like
thing
you're
I
not just gonna hit her with Comet's Call and take her
yeah
out.
the main problem I have with these two, the same problem I have with the twins is they definitely could have used an ability where they get stronger if both are on the field.
Yeah, that's true.
It would have been remarkably thematic. The twins
I would have liked it.
definitely needed this. These guys should have had it,
But
and
the
it's a
the
shame that they
other
don't.
the other really cool thing that she has though, it's the same thing for Weapon of Banishment. In addition, when this model fights or shoots, you can choose to target an endless spell. If your attack hits, roll a dice. If on 2d6, if it's higher than the casting value, the spell's dispelled. This gives you more than one attempt. She's got 3 sword attacks. If you hit with 3 sword attacks, you get to try to dispel it 3 times.
Yep.
She can have 2 crossbow attacks. So if she's right up against a spell, she's got 5 shots at dispelling it.
Yeah, that's actually the main reason her dad does a good is also useful, because he gets 9 attempts to dispel stuff.
Yep, exactly. And so they both have that, and it's a really good ability. Like, I have not seen people excited enough about that ability.
Especially with endless spells possibly getting stronger.
Exactly.
It honestly depends on what the endless spell war scrolls look like.
Well, and, like, there's nothing stopping you from doing it to your own spells, right? So let's say you're a City of Sigmar player. You're playing with empowered endless spells. You've already cast your Geminids. They've done their thing. You can get rid of them so that you can try and cast them again. Like, if you've sent it out of range and it's no longer under your control.
Yeah. I think it's definitely useful specifically with Stormcast Eternal comic builds.
That as well, yeah.
Because she almost has the range that the comet itself does.
Yeah, so you can drop the comet,
and
kill
just
it,
snipe
drop it again.
Yeah. Like, the comet's something you want to drop again. You don't generally want to snipe your own spells unless they go haywire.
Yeah. Yep. Or like your pendulum. Like if you've cast pendulum and it's already moved past its target, or it's going to because your opponent's going to get a movement phase, then you snipe it and you get it back.
Yeah, they have a lot of utility. They look cool. I like how these witch hunters are actually wearing armor.
Yes, they've learned. Only one of them has a witch hunter hat, so I'm pretty sure only the daughter is actually a witch hunter. I think the father's just a poser.
Well,
his hat.
The father realizes that named characters without helmets do better. The daughter's still learning because she still brings her hat with her.
But yeah, he's slightly quicker. He moves 6 inches. Apparently it's because he's taller.
Plus run and charge.
Yep, he's got a pistol, which is 9-inch range, 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1/1 damage. He's got a sword, 1-inch range, 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1/1 damage. He's also got Grim Resolve, 5 up, feel no pain. He can retreat and still shoot or charge. That's amazing. Double the damage characteristics of attacks made by this model if they target a wizard. So he's really good at blending wizards. And he can dispel endless spells. The daughter's better because she's got more range.
Yep.
But they're both good. And they're not that expensive.
Like what? 115 was it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's 115 for each of them.
Yeah, I'm putting the daughter in pretty much all of my lists. Especially, I've got points to spare.
Yeah, like if you're looking at, I've got 120 points and I don't know what to do with them. For cities, both of these are good options. And like, they're beautiful models. My friend Calvin, also a member of DMB, he's a prodigious painter. Like, he paints so quick. And he's like, I hadn't even seen the model before I had seen both of them in person and painted, because he's just that quick. Like, he just showed up to a hobby night and was like, look at my pretty models. And they're lovely sculpts. Like, absolutely amazing.
Yep. It's another one of those things where it's so detailed, I'm just going to drive myself to conniptions trying to get these right. I'm not a talented painter, guys. I'm really not. But, yeah. They're nice looking. They're going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And probably the best points per pound in this book.
Yeah, I agree. Like, they're not auto-include, but you don't have to build a list around them.
I don't know. With how many wizards in the game, the daughter's probably auto-include.
Yeah,
certainly a always consider.
Exactly, yeah. Like, if you're playing Hallowheart, I don't know that you really care. But she's still good. Like, she's still worth bringing. But it's not like, oh, you're playing cities, where's your witch hunter? Like, I think you
I,
can expect to see
I don't
them,
know.
but I don't think they're auto.
Just the giving me license to tell dad jokes at the table might be worth taking them.
That's fair. The main thing of the show, who the book should have been named after, Lord Croak got his updated War Scroll.
Yep, let me pull them up.
Sure.
Uh,
Da
honestly,
da da.
I'm sad. I love
Yeah.
the model, like, but he's a nerf.
Mm-hmm.
You were better off with the old 320 point Croak, in pretty much every way. The most significant change to Lord's Croak in terms of a power boost is that now he has add 2 to casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls instead of add 1. But the reason this doesn't really matter is because a lot of lists were running double Slan, and you already got that by casting Celestial Equilibrium, which now double Slan's a lot harder to fit. And honestly, we have so many bonuses to casting that I don't feel like we needed another one.
Right. The main loss is the loss of Balewind because
He's 18 wounds now.
He really needed the range because of all
Yep.
of his stuff is right up front, and he's less. I've done the math, guys. He is less durable than he used to be, and by a good 20%, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, he's less resilient, like just straight up less resilient. Uh, Currently, he can still benefit from Lookout Sir, but from the sounds of things, that's going away in third edition. Because it's going to be based on number of wounds instead of behemoth
Yep.
or monster
Yeah,
keyboard.
it is. We've seen it. It's anything 10 or above doesn't get it, so he doesn't get it.
So he'll lose that. But at the moment, he's got it. His Azurite barrier, his weapon attack, exactly the same. I would have really liked to see him get at least that improved for going up 110 points and getting weaker in other places.
And you know what's a true, complete failure on GW's part? The skink does not have an attack profile.
Yeah, his little skink attendant, nothing.
No.
Doesn't even have like a bonus. Like if he had just had like when Croak gets charged, he rolls a dice, not a 4-up, you deal D3 to the unit that charged him or something like that. Like anything, just represent him in the rules.
Yep.
But he is not at all.
Like, he's not a mummy anymore. We lost our poor little mummy boy. And
Yep.
he didn't get his... He has a spear. He's ready to stab people. GW, why?
Yeah.
Why,
He
GW?
like, and he's a pretty badass looking skink. Like I
Right?
really like that skink sculpt.
I might actually take him off of Croaks and put the old mummy on there and use him as a skink hero. Because he's just...
Yeah, like put him as a skink chief on a Stegodon or something.
Or as the skink priest, because the skink priest is an ancient sculpt, and this guy looks like him and just so much cooler.
The skink priest has such pretty feathers.
This guy has pretty feathers. Look at that hat.
Yeah, it's true. He's got a hat.
But
I don't know. I love, and maybe I'm just biased. Like my skink priest turned out really pretty. I love both of them. So I wouldn't do it, but I can see people doing it. But and the model in general is great. I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult to build, but it went together really nice. Like in terms of build advice, make sure all of your flare and all the nibs from where you clip off the sprue, you want those really clean. Because this model's a very tight fit, but I was really happy. Like it took me just over an hour to build, and it all fit together tight, like no gaps.
I'm gonna love building him. I'm gonna probably paint him in sub-assembly because holy shit.
Yeah, and I left him in subassembly. Like Croak isn't stuck to the chair, the skink isn't stuck to the chair, the headdress isn't stuck to Croak.
I'm probably gonna be painting the chair in pieces.
So it's so open. Like I thought I was going to have to subassembly the chair, and this is one of the things I'm really happy about. Just from how the composition from the model's designed, once you take Croak out, you've got brush access to pretty much everywhere. There's a couple places where vines would make it a little bit difficult if you're planning to do like all of the alternating stonework, which I'm going to do, patterned and that sort of a thing. That will be a little bit difficult. But those are already obscured places that, frankly, just base coating and doing a single glaze over.
How
will be
dare
fine. I
you
don't
skimp?
I don't need to glaze up like all of those. Like that's just a natural shadow where the vine crosses over. So
Mhm.
I don't know. Like I think you don't really need to do more sub-assembly than just croak, hat, chair, skink. You definitely can, but then I think the model is going to get cumbersome to hold. Like it holds to the base really well. Like I'm really shocked at how durable and sturdy it feels. Um, Especially since there's only one like direct pillar line point of contact, and that's just like three vines wrapped together. But it feels very substantial. So
Mhm.
like having it all the chair together so that it's connected to the base gives you something nice to hold on to. Like I don't know, I feel like the subassembly, like that minimal subassembly, is adequate, and I was not expecting that to be the case. Like I kept looking at it, being like, I don't think I want to glue this piece on, and then like actually rotating it, looking at it, and I was like, actually no, it'll be easier because then I don't have to hold it while I try to paint it. I can hold the base. Um,
Fair enough. Did you go mask or grandpa face?
so I went mask, and the kit tells you that you can't do his chin piercings and jaw armor stuff if you do the big mask, but you can. It just you gotta ever so slightly bend out the front fangs on his mask so it all fits together, and it looks awesome. It'll take me like over a month to paint this guy, but when I do, I'll post pictures. So you can build it where like he has all his bling. You don't have to choose between like hat and cool jaw piercing. You can take the cool jaw piercing.
Real
Just
question. So,
Real
I was gonna say
question?
just a bit of advice to people who are sad if they look at the instructions and think they can't do that. You definitely can.
yeah. And the
What?
real question is, how are you going to transport him?
Magnets.
Uh, I'm actually just gonna throw them in a box with peanuts. Not kidding. Every time, like I'm just gonna take a shoe box. I'm gonna fill it with packing peanuts, and I'm gonna lay him down inside of it. And
Oh,
I'm pretty sure he'll be safe.
I'm going to get him his own little metal carry case with magnets on the bottom.
there you
Nice.
go.
If I'm
It's just like,
flying, he's my carry-on though.
oh, nice.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Either that or you have a doctor's kit when you get there.
Yeah.
You're not going to
Yep.
seatbelt him to the seat of your car?
I've got
I
like
told you, magnets.
a
I'm gonna stick
I
this guy on the top so people can see him.
I still got my ferret harness to buckle ferrets in, so I could maybe try and rig something up for Croak. Uh,
To it.
Hmm.
but I'm really like I really wanted to take him to Boise Cup, which is a tournament coming up at the end of June, but I can't get him painted for it in time.
Shoot, that
And if
goes.
I can, it wouldn't it wouldn't be the quality of painting I would want to have him at.
Mhm.
So I don't want to compromise the painting because like I'm gonna like I want to stick him together if I'm going to take him to an event. I don't want my skink attendant popping off every time I move him. I don't want to have to fiddle with the headdress falling off. Like in order to paint him to the level I want to paint him, and with the amount of time I have in my life at the moment, I just don't think I can get him done in Boise Cup.
Yeah.
And he is a nerf. Like if he were god tier, maybe I could motivate myself to get him done in time. But with him being a nerf and with not wanting to mess him up, like he's gonna come once he's painted. He's in all my list. I don't care that he's a nerf. Um,
Yeah.
I like him,
To
but
Griffin,
he's a nerf.
I
I
never
think he's
used
still
him.
good, though.
Yes, he's still good, but he's
Oh yeah,
less
yeah,
good. That was never in question. He's still Croak. He's
yep,
still map-wise dispels. He's still a powerful wizard if you need him to be. Not as many
yeah.
good
For
spells to cast, but
430
still.
points. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and he. So the one thing he did get that's actually more useful is he simultaneously knows all the spells from Endless Land. Um,
Which is
that's
going to be much more useful if endless spells become a thing.
Well, so the reason it also becomes more useful is because you could always change which one he knew, right? That's super great. But now he knows them all simultaneously. So you can cast Celestial Apotheosis and Celestial Equilibrium and Stellar Tempest all in the same turn. You couldn't do that before. Um, so that is actually a buff. And depending on how situational they come up, it could be quite useful. Like being able to cast Celestial Equilibrium to give all your other wizards. Because I'm just going to sort of give a preview at something I'm thinking about. I'm calling it Slan Force 1. It's Lord Croak, 2 Slans, 30 Saurus Guard, Geminids, Purple Sun, and Pendulum. And then you've got some points to play with after that.
Sounds like a blast.
It's super fun. I don't think it's top tier, but being able to cast Equilibrium to give all of your Slaans a bonus, and then being able to cast Stellar Tempest to target a horde, and then being able to heal something if you need to heal something, being able to try and break someone's artifact. I don't know. I think that kind of got overlooked in all the gloom and doom because the Slan lore is not great.
No, it
But
isn't.
now having access to all of it all at once does make it better.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, he's a nerf. He's less durable. He doesn't do any more damage. You can't put him on Bellwind, so he's not going to end up at a 3+ save or 2+ in cover. And currently he can benefit from cover, but if Lookout Sir is going away, I wouldn't be surprised if cover is going to be based on wound characteristics
It is.
too. So he's just a 4-up, so you can no longer put him at a 2-up. In order to give him an extra spell, you have to take Cogs, which cost 40 more points than Bellwind Vortex did. Like, he's an all-around nerf.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen him get a better Comets Call. Like, make Comets Call just pick D6 instead of D3 always with Croak. Like, that would have been a lateral buff, because with his bonuses, chances are he's beating the value to be D6. But just making it a guaranteed thing so that you don't sometimes roll under getting to choose D6 units.
Yeah.
I don't...
I was
Go
never
ahead.
using Croak. I was one of the holdouts who really likes my Slan and kept using him. I'm not sure that's going to change.
I was using both.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Plan Force 1, like, it's also got a Troglodon, so, like, you're going to be getting, like, 5 or 6 D3 Conjuration points a turn with that list. Like, I think it's got legs. I don't think it's going to be the top tier list, but I think it's going to be what I play most of the time.
Yeah, fun is fun, whether you win or not.
Yeah, and then plus you can make the Source Warriors fly now.
You always could.
And, but now you can do it to D3 units instead of just 1.
Woo.
Yeah, the
Hooray.
spring gift of the heavens.
Yep.
So you pick T3 Seraphon units totally within 18 of him, and then they gain +1 armor save to missile attacks.
Yes,
And
that's
it's
definitely
fine, yeah.
useful.
Which they always had that, but
Yeah.
it was just one
yeah.
unit. Now it's D3, which is better. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's not better.
Yep.
Averages is 2.
Yep. But overall, in terms of, like, if I had to choose when I'm building a list, do I want Old Croak at 430 or New Croak? It's Old Croak always.
Yeah,
Like,
they
Old
keep
Croak.
doing that, making us want our old stuff back, which is weird
Yep.
because
Same
everyone
happened
was
with Bellator.
really sad about the old stuff.
Like, even if they cost the same points, like if Old Croak went from 320 to 430, I'd still pay 430 for Old Croak.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just to show how
That's
much
what we expected anyway in the next GHB.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Alrighty. Is there anything else?
Yeah, there's some Skaven stuff and some Beastman stuff, but honestly, it didn't really matter. Like, the weapons teams can now hide inside of Skaven units.
Oh, that's right.
Which
The
is super cool.
Skaven stuff is actually really good, especially
Yeah.
for Mulder players who we have a lot in the Lustria Discord who are super excited about it. Yeah, the hiding the weapons team is actually probably the best thing that happens to Skaven. Because weapons team's problem was always getting to combat without just dying. And now they act like fanatics, and it's really good.
Yep. And now Clan Mulder has, like, mutations. Hell Pit Abominations were always a sleeper unit. Like, everyone who plays Skavens, I've always told them you should be playing Hell Pit Abominations. They're good.
They are. Points per pound, the only thing that beat them out was, the chain ball
The plague
squigs.
pendulum.
The Mangler Squigs.
Mangler Squigs were the only better points per pound unit in the game for the longest time.
Yeah, for monsters.
Yep.
But yeah, they've got some really cool stuff. Like, Never Die, you can re-roll the dice for when the Too Horrible to Die ability procs, which is on a 5-up they come back. So
Which
now you've
is
got a 5-up
amazing.
re-rolling, which is pretty good.
For-
Um, like that's the one I would take. Like there's
Mhm.
other ones that are all good, but never, never die die. Like
Plus, it's an
that's
awesome name. Never Never Die Die is just. You can make a song with that line.
yeah. Like I can see an auto tune. Like yep. Uh,
Like the Happy Happy Joy Joy song from Ren and Skimpy. Just Never Never Die Die.
the Ren and Stimpy song that I always remember is Log. It's Log. It's Log. It's better than bad. It's good. That one.
Uh,
Yeah. That's just stuck in my head on repeat. Like whenever someone says not bad, like
well,
that's
sorry
immediately
about
the song.
bringing that back to mind then.
Well, what about the
uh,
Powder Toast Man theme song?
oh, that one's also good. Yeah. You know, we should do a spin-off podcast where we just talk about Ren and Stimpy.
Well,
And like,
I broaden the horizon to old shows in general. There's
oh
only
yeah,
so
the
much
Tick.
context.
We can
Yes.
bring in the
Ooh,
Tick.
I have met so few people who actually even know what that is.
People don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's surprising. It's probably because we're just old hats in this type of nerdery, and it was before most modern day nerds' time.
And probably because we're degenerate. Like that was never quality, but I did love it.
Shut your mouth. The Tick is amazing. But yeah, it's like people don't know the old Sam and Max cartoon, the old Freakazoid thing, the old
Yep.
Tick show, all of which are really good, especially if you're into the whole British absurdist humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
But
course.
this is all off topic. Yeah, we can talk about that. Maybe put it in a comment if you want to see us talk about old obscure cartoons.
Beast of Chaos got better, but not good enough to knock them up anywhere in tiers.
Yeah,
Um,
they got
you
good
can
enough
reroll-
not to be the worst, but still
Yeah,
really, really bad.
the best thing they got is Gore Battle Fury. You can re-roll charge rolls for friendly Gore units if they were in units were in ambush and have been set up in the same turn. So that's pretty significant because that hits like best of Gores, ungores, Gores. They've got Warhorde charge. Friendly Warhordes, when they make a charge move, they can pick an enemy unit within an inch of them, roll a dice, add 2 to the roll if it's a hero, or it has 3 or more models. On a 4+, they take D3 mortal wounds. So on a 2+, most of your Warhordes are going to do D3 mortal wounds to the things they want to on their charge. Thunderscorn got an easier time to heal themselves. That's pretty much it. Like that's the main big things, and those are all good
But
buffs.
the biggest question, does it make Slangor worth anything?
Nope.
No.
Yeah. Nope.
No.
Beast Lore, his really niche command ability got slightly easier to use, but not enough that he's an auto include, because you're still stuck with the horrible choice of do I fight with my Beast Lord to proc this, because now it's automatic.
Yeah, that's the main
Command
problem
point.
with the Malusai Iron Scale as well.
Or do I fight with the unit he's buffing, which they're beastmen, so they'll fall over if you attack them. Like that's the main issue. So what I'd really like to see, and maybe it's the case, when Beast of Chaos get their book, I'd like to see if they got something like Lumineth Realm Lord, where they're picking multiple units to fight when they pick units to fight. Like then this would be really good. Until then, The Jabberslight's better, but still not good enough to take, in my opinion.
Which is a shame, because it's got an awesome name.
Yeah, and like he's got Ren too, like his Vorporial
Vorpal.
claws
It's just a Vorpal sword.
are 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, Ren 2, 1 damage. Like Ren 2's solid, but he's still I don't know. I don't feel like he's
Who would win? Kragnos or a points equivalent amount of Jabberslice?
Kragnos.
Well, duh.
Because Jabberslices are not expensive. They're 165.
So you get like what, 5 of them?
Yeah, but anytime you want to take a Jabberslice, just take that many cockatrice.
Right. They're so much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, so that's or like chimeras. Like you're better off putting those points towards chimeras. It didn't get better enough to be worth taking. It might have gotten better enough to be worth summoning, but at the same time, cockatrice and chimeras can be summoned. So I don't know. They were
Yeah,
disappointing. That was my
I
major
mean,
disappointment
yeah.
from the book. Was
Essentially,
that
they
Beast of
put
Chaos got no help.
yeah, Beast of Chaos got put in token because they were Kragnos' original army, and then they did nothing with it.
Yep.
To be perfectly
Well,
honest, I'm still surprised that they didn't cover everyone in Broken Realms and instead covered cities 6 times. I mean, I
yeah, I mean,
understand why they did that. It's just really weird that they didn't touch on a whole lot of people.
Yeah,
if
somebody's got to
we
beat the beat sick.
Mm.
if we could please switch the poster boys for Age of Sigmar to Cities of Sigmar instead of Stormcast Eternal.
Yes, please. They're already a better option for that. They're
Yeah.
they offer more playstyles. Everyone's old dwarves and elves that they loved are in there. The humans as well. Stormcast are
Yep.
cool, but it's the same problem in 40k. The guard is better than Space Marines as a general poster boy because they're easily more relatable, and
Yeah.
and they make more sense to be sending them into every fight.
Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much Kragnos. The major changes for Seraphon are uh, burn the witch hunters, and Croak's not as good, but he's still worth bringing.
Yep. So Neshi, what's your favorite part of this book?
Ah, the Slaanesh stuff, of course.
Hmm.
What?
Obviously,
What else?
outside of that.
Outside of that, um, I think I just like the flexibility of some of these characters. Like you could definitely see some of these characters in an army, like the war singer for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So
In terms of like how it's going to affect the way you play Slaanesh, do you think you're going to be bringing either of these shards?
um, I think I'll have to play test it a little bit.
Well, it's not like you're dying for options over there.
No, I'm not. I think the Axis is still the way to go. It's just having a better combat uh, character.
It's surprising. She's the same. It is the same cost as Sigvald, isn't he?
Gold? Mm-hmm.
And yet, just
Just
so much better.
I think like 10 more points.
Yep.
For 10 more points,
Yeah.
you get a melee character that's actually good.
Sigvald's not bad.
No, like I've been rocking Sigvald all the tournaments lately, and he's done great for me.
Yeah. Especially in Lurid Haste, where you're deep striking.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's the part that you need.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Lurid Haze is just the way to go. And hopefully that sticks around, right? Because that's Wrath of the Everchosen. Um, like, I'm assuming it's going to stick around in a third edition. Uh,
I think it will.
Me too.
If it doesn't happen, then I'll probably try Synestis out then. Just
Yes.
having just having the wizard sit back and cast spells, even though I have to bring cogs to make it better. But I think it's
Yeah, I don't know why they don't tend to overwrite campaign books in new editions. At least not as far back as I can remember. So
Yeah, a lot of that
you're
sticks around.
probably fine.
Yeah.
The most of what disappeared was like the Rome Gate Wars. Like that all went away at the start of second ed. So I'm a
Well,
little bit
yeah,
worried
that's more
about
because
campaign books.
first edition was complete mess that they needed to just burn to the ground and start over.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't so much a rule set as a cobbled together sinking ship that they really just needed to burn down.
I had a lot of fun with first edition.
I agree. It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't a good foundation to build on.
No. The General's Handbook, however, made it a game. Like those old GHBs, like where they that's where Slaves to Darkness allegiance abilities were. It's where Seraphon's allegiance abilities were. Like those GHBs did a lot of heavy lifting for that edition.
Sorry about that. We got a dragster outside my house.
Oh, no
so-
worries.
Oh, interesting. Remind me about the new Lookout Sir in the 3.0. It's any character with 9 wounds or less.
Yes, it applies to anything with less than 10 wounds.
Yep.
Okay, so that's
So
good.
the chick, the caster, benefits from it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually really weird.
Yep,
Yeah,
'cause she's
I'm
a
still disappointed that they don't have a 2 as 1 rule where they both get stronger because the other's on the field. They're supposed to be two halves of the same being, and it only makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah, and honestly, I could just see something where, like, if they're both on the table, then, like, they get +1 to hit and +1 to casting, respectively. Or you could even just do it where they can share or split damage between them.
I was thinking, like, yeah, they did this with Marathi. I'm surprised they didn't do this with these guys. But Marathi also has to be taken together. Mainly,
Yes.
one of the things I thought would have been cool is if you buff one, both of them get it.
That would be cool. I'd like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because then you could bring a Keeper of Secret,
Yeah,
and you can make both of them fight twice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Call it Twinned Souls or something. Where,
Well, yeah.
where anything that affects one affects the other.
Well,
like,
there's already a twin souled rule in the game.
Fair enough. Well, then we
I hate
forget
that.
that exists and do the whole Gargants thing where you do twin souled but good this time.
Man, I think that's the nicest thing you ever said about Chaos before.
Oh, it definitely is. And in as soon as we're done talking here, I'm going to go behind your back and say you were the worst guest we've ever had. But
Yeah, that's fine. Fine by me.
and we'll each go to our own corners of the world and badmouth the fact that this was the worst experience we've ever had, and how dare that chaos person
That's okay.
defile our ground.
Me and my secret chaos side will just go to Boise Cup with Shepard, and we'll talk about you. We'll even the field.
That's perfectly valid. I expect the trepidations of chaos to talk poorly of Seraphon.
Yeah, I mean, at least, like, it's win-win for me. Like, I love, like, genuinely, I like all of the Chaos armies. The only Order army I do like is Seraphon. So, like, hey,
100%.
if Chaos is Ascendant, cool, my other armies are doing great. If not, well, then it's the Will of the Old Ones, and my favorite armies rocking it.
Yeah. Everyone says I lean too heavy Order, but that's because all the armies I like are in Order.
I have Stormcast. Like, I own, like, a stupid amount of points of Stormcast.
They are not one
They
of
were
them.
my first army. But I never have fun playing them. And it's not like I'm losing. Like, I still win with my Stormcast. They're just...
They're a potato army. They sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, or they, like, I sit there and I shoot, or I sit there and I comment. Like, it's just... I don't know. It's not how I enjoy playing the game.
Mm.
But yeah, man, I'm excited for the new shards. Like, I'm probably going to end up at some point owning the shards and Kragnos, and I've already got Croak. So this book, I love this book. It was a great book.
Yeah.
Out of all the Broken Realms, it's my favorite.
Great models. Probably everything's a bit too expensive for what you're getting. But overall...
Except those Witch Hunters.
Oh, yeah, that's
115
right.
for those Witch Hunters.
I keep forgetting they're in this book because they got shown off so far ahead of Kragnos. Like, they got shown off of even several weeks before Croak. So in my mind, they keep being a part of Curse City.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yes, they're in here, and they're probably the best priced thing. Skaven people are happy. Beast of Chaos, I'm sorry, I don't know why you still play this army. GW obviously hates you.
Beast of Chaos is pretty.
I know.
That's why people play it.
That's why people play every army. They play every army because they think it's pretty. That's the first and foremost reason you should play this army, because you are going to be spending so much time staring at them. If you don't like how they look, you really shouldn't play an army. Even if you think it's good and fits your playstyle, you have to like how they look. Which is also why it's such a crime that GW doesn't support half their armies.
You know, I don't know. I don't have as much complaints about GW. Like, they managed to still put out all these books while they had third in the works and coming around. Like, I'm glad they didn't just abandon everything to work on third. Like, as a whole, for a complex a game as tabletop wargaming is, I'm pretty satisfied with Games Workshop. Like, I can always nitpick because I love this game. I spend so much of my life focusing on this game. So I'm definitely aware of the problems with it. But, like, I love this game. They made a game that I love, that I can spend so much of my time thinking about. So yeah, as a whole, like, I'm pretty happy consistently with Games Workshop and the content they put out.
I can't say I agree, but I respect your opinion.
Well, I mean, you can have your opinion about liking Order so much, and Lizard Wizard can have his opinion on GW.
Yeah, like I'm an unabashed fanboy. I spend a lot of my income and a lot of my time on this game. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't do that. Like it's a great game.
Fair.
But yeah, that's
All
my
right.
thoughts on Kragnos. I love it.
Is there anything else we have to cover?
I think that's everything. Did you have
No,
anything?
no, not me.
Well, thank you for joining me, Wizard. And Shepard, you were here as well. But the jungle is calling me
Yeah.
home. You all have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.